The doctors say one thing, but I know God has other plans. I have heard this so many times, and as a hospital chaplain with a deep faith of my own, I can honestly say that I truly and fully believe it. But having worked with the dying for over 20 years, I have to tell you that this statement can also lead to a much, much more painful death if you're not fully informed. In this video, I'm going to help you avoid trauma and suffering at the end of your life while also maintaining your complete trust in God. Now, I personally believe in miracles and heaven, and I believe that only God knows when our final day is here on this earth. I've seen far too much in my work and life to believe anything else. And the thing is, most of you who are watching this video probably hold similar beliefs. According to recent Pew Research Center studies, 7 in 10 Americans believe in heaven or a peaceful life after death, and 8 in 10 Americans believe that miracles happen today. Yet when doctors tell someone that they are nearing the end of their lives and aggressive treatments will no longer be curative, patients and their loved ones often demand that doctors do everything to save their loved one. In fact, many studies have found that the more religious people are, the more likely they are to ask for CPR, breathing machines, and aggressive treatments at the end of life. And part of the reason for this is because many people trust God and their faith leaders more than doctors when it comes to end-of-life decisions. One study showed that when people are faced with medical decisions at the end of their lives, they listen more to their faith than to the doctors. We trust God more than doctors. And no offense, doctors, but I also firmly believe in and trust God way more than doctors. Doctors, you all are amazing, and you have dedicated your whole lives to healing others, but you're not God. And doctors, you're fully aware that you are not God. But when we trust God more than doctors, we sometimes just don't trust doctors at all. We think that doctors are underestimating the amount of time that we have left, that doctors just think we're going to die way before we actually will die, that doctors give up on us. But it's actually the opposite. Remember, doctors have dedicated their entire life to saving your life. So when they can't, it's not easy for them. And studies have found that doctors actually overestimate your length of life. They think their patients are going to live 5 times longer than they actually do. So if your loved one is very sick in the intensive care unit or the emergency room or even in a doctor's office, and a doctor tells you that your loved one is near the end of their life and more aggressive treatments like chemotherapy, certain medications, CPR, breathing machine will not work to save their life, this doctor has already done everything that medicine can possibly do for your loved one. And these aggressive treatments will only hurt your loved one. Aggressive treatments are called aggressive for a reason. They are often really hard on the body and can cause a great deal of suffering and pain. CPR, for example, is actually a very violent treatment. You probably have seen videos of people doing CPR on a mannequin. It can look like a person is gently applying some pressure to the chest, but actually, you need to push at least 2 inches down every time. This causes a lot more pain and suffering, and doctors do not like doing this if they know that it won't help. I'll never forget one incredible ICU doctor who used to explain it this way to families. He said, doctors often perform very violent and hurtful things to help people heal. Think about how painful it is when a doctor has to reset a broken bone, for example. It hurts so much to snap it back into place, but doctors do this because they know that it will make the person better eventually. CPR is similar, he said. We have to push down very hard on your loved one's chest, and that can crack ribs and involve a lot of suffering and pain for your loved one. So when CPR will not help your loved one get better, he said, all I'm doing as the doctor is pounding on their chest. I'm essentially beating them up when they are dying. It was such a blunt thing for him to say, but sadly, it is the truth. But sometimes, even when a doctor is so blunt, families still will ask doctors to do everything because they want to give God a chance to provide a miracle for their loved one. This is so confusing to doctors. After families have asked for everything to be done, hoping that God will provide a miracle, if the doctor just keeps performing CPR on a frail, very sick, very thin person, I've watched doctors walk away from these CPR efforts in tears. I've held doctors as they've cried about how horrible it was to do CPR on a frail person as they were dying. I remember a new doctor coming to me and genuinely asking me, if this family believes that God can give them a miracle, why do they need me to jump on top of their loved one and do CPR? Why do I need to hook up their loved one to machines? I'm not God. Can't God heal them without all that? I don't understand this faith. Doctors want nothing more than to save your life. Doctors are overly optimistic about how long you have to live. Doctors love their medicine and their treatments. So when they have to turn their back on their medicine, so to speak, and say that a treatment like CPR or chemotherapy or a breathing machine won't work, they're devastated. They wish it would work, but they're not God. And that new doctor had a point. God can give you a miracle with or without a doctor providing aggressive treatment at the end of your life. If we fully believe in miracles and believe that God can restore our health in an instant, if we fully believe that after this life there is heaven that is more peaceful and wonderful than this place, the most loving and the most faithful decision we can make is to let go of all the aggressive interventions and surrender our lives completely to God. Now, making a decision like this is literally one of the hardest things we do in life. But I hope that this video has helped you get a better sense of what doing everything means at the end of life, and how you can trust in God while letting go of all these aggressive treatments. So if you are facing a decision like this for a loved one, or you are thinking about hospice for yourself or what you would want for the end of your life, know that there's help. You can reach out to your local hospital chaplain, or you can reach out to us at mychaplainconnect.com. Even if you're not facing a decision like this video may have kicked up some memories, some grief or sorrow. So please reach out for help and take time to pray today, to meditate or spend time in nature. And I'll see you on the next video.